Done.
All right.
All right,
Well,
Julian, take it away.
well, you took you got me out of my flow, Sigmund. Usually what I do is I'll introduce a little bit and then I'll go over some intros. I'll ask you kind of what I'm looking for from your answer, 30-second elevator pitch in a certain way. But I think I got mostly everyone's. I think maybe Dennis, I'll have you repeat yourself just in a second. But I wrote everyone's name down and specialty, titles, and those things.
Julian, now let me just add one thing. We're all executives. One of our superpowers is interrupting people, so I'm sure they can jump in with questions anytime.
Good.
So go for it.
We like questions. My goal here, guys, is to be less talking head. And I mean, how many times have we all sat in front of a presentation and just watched, and just kind of like, all right, I'm going to get on my phone or do an email or something. So my goal here is to go through this really quickly as possible. It's somewhat engaging. And then really kind of work one-on-one with everyone here through it. A little bit about me. If you can see, let me pop up there. There we go. Leaving the nest. So you guys aren't leaving the nest. You left the nest probably a lot longer than I did. I started a career coaching business about 3 years ago, targeting high school and college students. I came from a marketing background, and I mean, that's what I do. That actually still pays my bills today. I have a marketing agency. But I started this career coaching and specifically tailored towards high school and college students. The funny thing is, you guys are no better than the college students that are coming out of college. You guys are horrible at interviewing. You're terrible at explaining what you are. Your elevator pitch sucks. You forget to send the thank you letters. You guys are as bad as your children. Okay. Yep. And you're no better. So it's actually quite funny. There's something that happens when you've had some sort of success. It's hard to put yourself in a bucket. That's what I've noticed with mid and late stage career individuals. I haven't only worked with high school and college students. I've worked with across the spectrum. Sure. My business, I wanted to work with our youth. It's my particular passion. Yeah, you guys have, a lot of you have done so many different things. You struggle to market yourself, and a lot of this is a concept that I try to put out there a lot. Is a lot of career professionals, mid and late career professionals, are trying to replace their last job. Okay, they're trying to replace their last job in the same way that you may try to replace your ex-wife, right? You can't replace your ex-wife. You got to find a new wife. You can't replace her. Same thing with the job. You got to find a new job. And there's for some of you who have been in this long enough, maybe you understand what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of you try to replace the last job with the same job that you had before in the same role. You got to figure out how to position yourself for the next job, for what they in particularly need. Now, hopefully I'm preaching to the choir. Hopefully it's like, duh, Julian, that's obvious. But I've had, we just placed a mid to late career person. It was a 14-month hunt. He left Tesla, and it took us 14 months to land him at Peloton. But he constantly, and he's IT, he's in the IT side of things. I think he was like IT purchasing. He was like global IT purchasing for all of Tesla. So it was really, really tough to land him in the next role, because he kept trying to replace the Tesla job. And I kept telling him, it's not, you gotta position yourself completely different for each particular role. They have unique needs. Tesla has unique needs. Peloton has unique needs, right? So luckily he's at Peloton and it's great. He loves it and it's amazing, but it took him 14 months. He didn't have a job for 14 months. And it's a struggle. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit that I know what I'm talking about. Like, I know what's up. And we'll just kind of get into it. Quickly about me. My name is Julian Espinosa, founder of Poppy Digital. I'm a growth hacker. This is my marketing business. This is what I do day in, day out. This is what's brought me to here to today. My passions are really helping companies grow quickly. That's what I do. The Leaving the Nest project came out of hiring so many interns and seeing how they just weren't prepared. You as parents, our schools, our professors at the university, no one's taking ownership about helping our students find careers and helping them understand what's involved in the career seeking realm. And I just said, you know what? I can't keep putting my head on my pillow knowing that no one's paying attention. So I started Leaving the Nest, tailored to high school and college students. This is typically where I go, hey, tell me your 30-second pitch. So Dennis, you were the only person I didn't catch the screen recording or the Zoom stopped. So can you tell me your last title, the title you want, and the industries you were in? Dennis, you're on mute.
You have to unmute.
So you're gonna have to start all over again, Dennis.
Oh, still muted, Dennis. Sorry.
Okay.
There you are.
No, I think I found it. Okay.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah. So I'm at a different point in my career. I'm not really looking for a job. I spent my career in the insurance industry, all around the insurance industry, really. My last two roles were the CEO for one company and the COO for another company. One was the CEO role was for an insurance company. The COO role was for a large insurance agency.
Okay. So
the reason I'm here is because I don't know if you caught it, but I spent the early part of my career as an auditor, both a partner with Ernst & Young and an audit executive for several large insurance companies. And I kind of combined those experiences into a book that's targeted toward entrepreneurs to help them not just grow their company, but grow their companies profitably through a kind of a model that came up. And I guess my next role would be to build a consulting practice around that book, which is about ready to be published. I've uploaded it to Amazon already. I just need to push the button.
Right. There, the value you may find, and this applies to anyone who's not necessarily looking for a role. It's never a bad idea to optimize your LinkedIn profile, right? That's never a bad idea from a searchability standpoint. And I'm going to show you I'm going to go actually deeper than Sigmund's even asked me to on content. So we'll get to that. So thanks for joining, Dennis. Do we have anyone new who joined, or is this everyone who was here at the beginning? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7. Yep, I got 7. Okay, cool. No one new joined. Great. So let's get started real quick, guys. I'm going to skip over that agenda. So what's your objective? Most of you are either looking for a job. Here, let's just do a raise of hands, and you can just do it visually. How many of you are looking for a new job? Not a consulting gig, new job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And the other two, so Neil and Dennis, what are you looking? I know Dennis. Neil, can take yourself off mute. What are you looking for?
Yeah, I just picked a direction, as I mentioned in the outset. I've been participating in this group, and I've done it helpful.
Oh yeah, you're going to start the fund. You want to start
Yep.
the climate change tech fund. Okay, cool. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Great. So just, I typically start this off by saying out of 500 million current users on LinkedIn, only 3 million actually share content on a weekly basis. This literally leaves a huge opportunity for any one of us. So really what you're seeing, and you'll recognize this now, if you're on LinkedIn, kind of give me a nod if you've seen a post that someone has commented on or liked on a friend of yours. Have you seen that? Yep. Most of you are nodding your head. And the reason you're seeing those posts is because LinkedIn does not have enough content to show you. So what they do is they show you content that your friends will like. Now, if you notice on Facebook, you see a lot less of that nowadays because there's enough content out there to show you enough ads, right? So right now, there's a huge opportunity for you to really become a thought leader, or even just re-engage your past contacts. What I've noticed is in mid to late stage careers, mid to late careers, it's less about applying to a job posting and more about the connections, and talking to someone who you hadn't talked to in 20 years. You didn't know that they were at Amazon, and they're working on Amazon's new division, starting this new project that you'd be a perfect fit for. Like, these things that you just don't know. You don't know what 300 people that you're connected to are currently doing at all times. You don't know who they're talking to. You don't know what projects they're working on. So we've usually seen a lot more success in late stage. Sorry, I say mid. When I say mid, I'm saying late stage mid to late career. We usually see our network being the places where we find employment quicker. Moving on. So the first thing, and this is like marketing 101. No one was a CMO here, right? No CMOs here. No, and I don't think there's no CFOs, right? No CFOs.
No,
Yeah, it's funny because that's
we've had CMOs, but they have a job.
yeah.
Divergis is presenting. He's a CMO.
Right, that's true. Well, one guy who's with us a lot, but he's actually on a panel right now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So it's funny. I'm working with a client, and he's interim CFO. So I was going to say, well, if the stars align, he needs to be replaced. He only has a contract till the end of this year, and he doesn't want to do it long term. So the first thing, guys, is understanding your audience, right? So this is marketing 101. Who is your audience? Who are they? What do they care about? What are they interested in? Right? Those are the first three things that we want to pay attention to when you're building your LinkedIn profile. Who are they? What do they care about? What are they interested in? Next, when it comes to preparing your profile, there's a few key pieces of your LinkedIn profile that you're going to want to pay attention to. It's going to be your profile photo, your cover photo, and I'll get to that in a second, the difference between those. Making your profile interesting, okay, to create some intrigue, and then your headline. Those are some of the key spots for your LinkedIn profile. So let me go over here, and we're going to play a quick little game here. All right. So I'm going to call on a few people. Let's go, Peter. Peter, out of this screen, take yourself off mute. I'll give you a second. There you go. Which one of these photos stands out to you most?
Fifi Yalea.
And why?
Just the background.
Excellent. James, are you around? Which photo stands out most to you?
Hannah,
Okay, why?
I don't know, background again.
Okay, fair enough. And then let's go, John.
I was looking at Angela.
Okay, tell us why.
Well, she shows up as some type of like helicopter pilot or something like that with the sunset, or sailor with the sunset in the background there.
Totally. So just what we've seen from the three people who said something: Angela, Hannah, and Fifi. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, and I apologize, Fifi, if you ever watch this recording. There's something there, right? So let's take as an example, and I'm going to hover over. Let's take an Omid or a Michael down here. Michael bottom left, and Omid mid right here. Okay, it's just a standard headshot. What we need to understand, and what the problem with LinkedIn is, there has been an unspoken rule that apparently LinkedIn is supposed to be only professional. We're all humans. We all have friends. We all have families. We all have personal lives. LinkedIn is not limited. You're not going to get pulled over by an officer, and you're not going to get a ticket from LinkedIn for posting something personal. That just doesn't exist. There's no governing body on who is what kind of content you should post. So I like to offer a little personality. I like to give a little insight into who you are. Because most of you in the positions you've been in have hired many, many people. Probably you've hired a lot more people than I have ever hired. And you do hire someone by their experience and if they're capable for the job, but you also got to like them, right? You're not going to really hire someone you don't like, unless it's like a mission just to accomplish one thing. I mean, you got to work with this person, so you got to like them, and likability is going to come through from that you are more than your job, right? So some of the things to pay attention to. And James, thank you for politely raising your hand. Go ahead.
So I kind of see where you're going with this. And as Sigmund warned you, we are all C-level executives. So we're going to jump in here to kind of shorten the conversation. I can see where you're going. And I have a picture that has better than a white background, and that I've used the real estate that is above my picture to make something that's a little bit more memorable. But at the same time, LinkedIn is a search engine, and neither my photo nor my banner photo can be searchable. So it will have an effect if somebody is going through a bunch of stuff like this, as you've shown, in terms of looking for a C-level guy like me. Maybe having something pretty or a better attractive photo would make me stand out better. But again, the point is, it's not searchable.
Okay. What's your point?
Point being, yes, make it memorable, but still you have to have something there that can be searchable.
Okay. It's funny. Usually we're presenting in front of high school or college students, and everyone's too scared to ask the question, right? With C-level executives, you guys just like to minimize where we're going. So James, I'm going to offer that we're going through your profile top down, and I'm going through the importance of the certain pieces. So to your point, it is not searchable. There's not a Boolean search for better profile photos, right? But what it is when someone lands on it, you're talking about the effect and the feeling they get when they land on your photo, right? And so this is what we're discussing, right? Okay. So we understand that the photos. Let's go to the next one, which is the these cover photo. So as an example, James mentioned his cover photo, that he has a customized cover photo, and I am staring at his cover photo. I probably not the colors I would personally pick, but he has one and it's customized. So here's mine, right? You've got a lot going on there. From me, if you can tell, that's me. You've got this chart, you've got a woman there, and then you've got growth hackers. I'm not currently actively looking for a job, so I don't really need any of that there. This is more of a personal branding effort to brand my company and brand who we are. So there's no really objective behind it. But as an example, if everyone pulled, let me see if I can.
Mine's actually my brand as well. If you look at the company logo there on the Global Interim Executive Management, it's the same dark color with the globe. So I put that globe in the banner photo to get the globalness of who I am, right? And then I put the branding statement, making manufacturing companies run better.
Excellent. And what he's done really well here is he has a little slogan here, making manufacturing companies run better. And he has a little quote there: people, process, product, profit, with working with teams to integrate win-win strategies on a global basis. It's a little dull in my opinion, but he's marketing himself, and he's taking the right step. Probably I'd say at least one or two of you guys is going to have that cover photo it's going to be blank. So good job, James.
How would you make it less dull?
We'll get to there. We'll get to the one-on-ones a little bit later. All right. Again, I'm a marketing guy, right? So I approach things a little bit differently. Okay, so let's go to the next one here. So the next thing that you're going to want to pay attention to is, going back, your headline right here: helping e-commerce brands. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sharing the wrong screen. That's my bad. Reshare. I'm not used to sharing it like this. There's something funny with Zoom right now. Right under my name, it has this little headline. Okay, helping e-commerce brands and podcasts to grow quickly. So really on LinkedIn, what I'm doing is I'm in particular promoting what the type of clients I want. I want either e-commerce companies or I want podcasts. I keep it really rather simple. And there's sort of some things where you can expand a little bit further. Let me show you a friend of mine who went from photographer, literally photographer, to working at now it's not like a late stage career, but still nonetheless cool. He went from a photographer to Nike literally overnight because he customized his LinkedIn profile. So this is Christian. Christian actually does a lot of career workshops as well, more so on Clubhouse. Let me share you his profile. There you go. So he gets a little more creative. He gets some emojis in there, and he talks about a couple of things. So he goes, senior BI engineer, which he's not even a senior, but he puts it in there because he considers himself a senior at PlayStation. Data teacher. I mean, you're not senior after 2 years of a job. It doesn't matter what job it is. You're not senior at 2 years. Data teacher at USC, which is a little bit far-fetched. Data scientist, keynote speaker, daily Clubhouse tech and career tips. So anyways, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. If you're looking for a career, I'd like it to see more simplified, right? I'd like to see things more like, something more particular to what you're looking at. So let me look at who we have here. Who can I pick? Let's go with,
I like the, which as an old guy, I don't do, but I like the emojis in there.
Yep. The emojis help,
Very nice. It's a labeling thing, right? Yeah.
You got to remember, we're looking this at desktop. Recruiters and people do look on desktop, but also mobile is big, right? And so this really works really nicely on mobile.
Yeah.
So let's look at, who do we have here? Aurelio? Am I saying that right? Aurelio? Is that a correct enunciation? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Thanks, Julian.
Yeah, is that a correct enunciation? Aurelio?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Aurelio. Okay, so Aurelio, you were the last thing you were a CEO. You've worked at a company from anywhere from 1.5 to 60 million. You're looking for startups. Any particular field of startups?
Consumer goods.
Consumer goods. I would challenge you to maybe even try to narrow down that a little bit further, especially on your LinkedIn. Here's something interesting for you guys. This is really an interesting thing. A cup is a tool to drink water. We can also use a cup to drink orange juice out of it. We can drink alcohol out of it. We can drink a lot of different things out of it. It's a tool that has multifunctions in it. I mean, I could flip it on top and use it to put something else in there. I can put snacks in there. I can put soup in there. It's a tool. And think of LinkedIn as a Swiss Army knife, but you only pull out one tool at a time. So when you open a Swiss Army knife, right, it's only one thing that you're using at a time. So a lot of people say to me, especially you mid to late career folks, well, I do all these, I can do all these kind of things. So I want to tell everyone everything I can do and kind of like throw everything against the wall, right? I challenge you guys to be specific. So Aurelio, I'd say, I don't know why I'm saying it with the Spanish accent. I speak Spanish as my first language. So I feel like it's Aurelio. I would challenge you to pick a consumer good, a category in consumer good, and say, looking for a startup in food, consumer good. No, so we would have to be like headphones. I don't know. I'm just picking a category, right? At this point, I'd like to see it more specific. And the reason why is when someone lands on this LinkedIn profile from a search or somehow they found you or you were introduced, you can use LinkedIn as a specific tool to find specific type of business. I have 2 businesses. I don't use LinkedIn to find high school and college students to teach LinkedIn workshops to. That's not what I do. I use LinkedIn for the Poppy Digital business. And you can make an argument, if you guys are paying attention, that my profile has it has two. It has e-commerce and podcast too, right? So that's a whole nother story. But I was really focused on e-commerce for a really, really long time. It's mostly what I've been doing for the last 15 years. But you want to be specific, right? And you can use this as a tool. It does not preclude you, and it doesn't disqualify you, right, from other roles. It doesn't. It's just what you put on this particular tool, right? You pull out your Swiss Army knife and you use it for one tool. You don't pull them all out and use all of them for the same time, right?
To that end, Julian, then at the same time, you could say, I could have 3 different things I like to do with my knife, and I'll close one and open another. So, I mean, once you make a choice on the way your LinkedIn, if I had 3 different covers, I could switch weekly or monthly or something. Exactly.
You could change. Here, I'm going to give you the ultimate secret right now for LinkedIn. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are okay being remote. Just give me a raise of hands. I'm okay being remote. Okay, Neil, you're another use case, so don't worry about it. I know what you want to do. Okay, you're okay. So you guys are okay being remote. This is something really interesting. So as of right now, recruiters, headhunters are not expanding their searches beyond the local areas. And what you can do is, let's say Aurelio, let's say the consumer, I don't know, Aurelio, tell me about where are you located, Aurelio, by the way?
Southern California and Riverside.
Okay. Is your area exploding in consumer goods startups? Is that happening in your area?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're looking for a job in that category, you should probably have that answer.
Yeah.
So
Nonetheless,
Southern California has never been a hotbed for consumer products.
That's what I figured. I made my own guess in my head, but I was asking the person who you should know, Aurelio. You should do some research and figure out what the hot area is. My point is, change your location to where that hot area is. Mr. Jones, do you know what is the hot area for consumer good?
Chicago and New York.
There you go. Change it to Chicago for a month, change it to New York for a month, and see what happens. You'll start to come up on these searches. James, you were going to mention something?
D is our resident CMO, Divergis Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, Divergis. Okay,
Yeah.
So we're friendly. How you doing, buddy?
Julian, nice to meet you. I just have a quick question. Unfortunately, I was tied up with something, so I'm getting here late.
Yep.
But will a company like Amazon look at your profile differently than like a company like Bank of America, Chase Manhattan, or Exxon? Is there a mindset for certain types of companies that doesn't exist with, let's say, a company under 15 or 20 million in revenue? Just a question.
It's an excellent question. I'm not a recruiter. I'm not a headhunter. I don't do those things. And it would be an interesting conversation to see how differently they look. From my experience, again, placing people at all types of companies across the spectrum, I haven't seen any unique use case that these companies look at these people individually in a different way. I think what we really are seeing, and you kind of heard me, my original speech, but you missed my speech to start, was these companies are looking to fill a role, right? And they're looking for a solution to that role. There is a problem that needs to be solved, and there's a unique problem, or at least they believe it's a unique problem. Most people believe their problems are unique to them. The reality is problems are really not unique to us. They exist everywhere in just different capacities. Point being that what we're really seeing is people are taking their time right now. They are not rushing to hire someone, especially in the mid to late careers.
Yep.
People are not rushing.
Yep.
It is not urgent. I'll give you an example. There's a big, I can't name names, but there's a company in, I have a client who consults for the global 500 of the world.
Mhm.
And one of his clients had a CFO position that needed to be replaced, and they brought him as interim CFO for the position. And so this company has just brought in an interim CFO, and this job's going to be open. It's been open now. By the time his contract ends, it's going to be open for about 14, 15 months. People are not rushing. And this is a global 500 company. It's a big company. And they're not rushing to replace people. So I think that's really what we're seeing. That probably doesn't answer your question directly, but it's more of a state of affairs and context.
Yeah, when you threw up the slide of your LinkedIn profile, going against podcasts and going against e-commerce, and whatnot, I think that would blow them away. That the target would react to it. That's my kind of language. That's my kind of graphic. But I'm just wondering if you did that same thing with Campbell Soup, would they embrace it, or would they say, I don't know. I was just wondering.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. So thank you. Now I think I understand your question.
Yeah.
So
my son would jump all over your profile. He said, "I got to talk to that guy."
Right. So I hear what you're saying. So
Right.
the simple answer, and I'm not talking in terms of theme. I'm talking more in terms of process. You want to customize the cover photo, and you want a nice headshot that's not boring. Right. So you want to add some personality. It doesn't need to be what a digital marketing growth hackers companies look like with this customized graphic in this particular fashion. It just needs to, you need to customize it. That's a simple part. As far as what you put there, we can, as when we go to our one-on-ones, we can talk about different use cases and different ideas and whatnot. But the idea here is that you got to customize it. Don't leave it blank, and don't put a picture of plants. And I don't want to see a picture of New York. I don't want to see a picture of San Francisco. I don't want to see the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't want to see that. I want to see something that speaks to you. Okay.
Got it.
Any questions about the LinkedIn profile here? No.
And I just one thing that I think we've gotten to a point in looking at yours and looking at mine and ours. A lot of us have the more standard, I would have said the more standard profile picture, taking professional profile picture, et cetera. And I feel like we've gotten to a tipping point finally where even the C-levels are expected to have some more newer things, newer ideas, newer looks, where 5 years ago I would have said, and I think been almost right, that the C-levels they're still looking for the guy in the suit and tie.
Sure.
And I think those days are gone.
It's fair. Very, 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 very fair. Very fair.
I mean, yeah, when I looked at the one, there was a guy in your little lineup there. There was a guy who had his photo in black and white, and you commented on it. And it's interesting because I know a company that's their style of taking headshots. And just about everybody who has done a LinkedIn from that company has that black and white photo of themselves in a black jacket against a white background.
Right.
It's sort of like they've almost adopted a corporate look and feel to LinkedIn, which, kind of blurs that line between, does your profile belong to the company, or does it belong to you personally?
I can tell you specifically from someone who works at Amazon, and I would consider them they're head of product at Amazon. And this was a question we had to him. We had a conversation, and the simple answer is LinkedIn is not an asset owned by any company. You own your LinkedIn. You don't even need to tell the world your current role. It's on you to tell the world what you want to tell on LinkedIn. You don't have to say so anyways, the point is, what he did is he took his Amazon role and he shoved it way down at the bottom. He didn't even want that. That's not his thing. His thing on LinkedIn is completely different. He helps people with careers. Right. And that's what he promotes. If you guys want to look at him, his name is John Marty. I'll show you him maybe towards the end. And John's a top 10 influencer on LinkedIn. And he just left Amazon. Now he's somewhere else. I don't know where he is right now. He just left like 2 weeks ago. But
Julian, I have
anyways,
a question.
yeah, go ahead, Aurelio.
Did you say then to reduce the amount of things that I'm talking about?
Yeah, what I would say is I'm going to challenge everyone in their headline to come up with a headline that's really I'll workshop it with you in a little bit later, but a headline that's very targeted, very specific for a type of role that you're interested in. Again, we talked about consumer goods, right? Let's be in consumer goods, and let's pick a particular category in consumer goods, or a particular vertical or industry, whatever your terminology wants to be. We'll workshop that in a second. Let me get through this. There's only one more part, and then we're done. So basically, here's where we're at. Generating content that gets you attention. There's also another portion on your LinkedIn profile that's really important. It's called your featured section. Now, the idea is, what is a featured section? Your featured section is going to be a specific post that that you were particularly proud of. So let's take a moment and we'll look at Christian's, just because Christian has a really nice one here. This is LinkedIn actually sent him a care package. He had 11,762 likes, 240 comments. It was basically this gift that LinkedIn gave him for something. And then there's the data project that landed him the job at Nike. So literally going from photographer, his narrative is, he tells everyone, he's like, I was a photographer and I literally went from photographer to Nike overnight. And this was the project that got him that. Then he's got this, let's check this out, this YouTube video, some boot camp and stuff. And so this featured section is about content. This is LinkedIn content that you post on their platform. And what you're going to do is, and what I'm going to promote here, is that you need to revitalize and you need to re-energize and you need to reestablish your network. You need people to see you, who you are, where you are today, so that people understand, like, hey, you're actively looking. Here's what I've been doing, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to give you a really quick one. A thing. This was my first attempt, and the screenshots are from a year ago, but it's actually 3 years ago at this point. This is 2018, when I first started my LinkedIn content journey. The one on the left, Facebook, now hiring, no need to apply. We already have all your information. I thought that was funny. I really did. Really thought it was funny. Unfortunately, if you look below the post where it says like, comment, and share, there's literally no likes, no comments, and no shares. And as a social media digital marketing guy who'd been doing it at this point for, at that time, 12 years, give or take, it hit the ego a little bit, right? You know, I mean, we've all experienced it. We've all had success in our career, and then we did something and it didn't work, and you're like, wait, what? Hold on, right? And so I did think what's going on. All right, so I thought, okay, let me try something else. UPS trucks almost never make left turns, and I talked about how marketing should be efficient, just like the UPS trucks. Well, that got me 2 comments. No one liked and no one shared. Well, I'm very good. So I knew I was putting out something that wasn't working, right? And that's the first thing, right? We all understand, hopefully, definition of insanity, repeating something, expecting a different outcome, right? So the idea,
Julian, just one thing, I was at a presentation at Irvine with UPS,
yeah,
and they don't make those left turns because it burns up more energy. Did you know that?
well, it's also accidents. That's the big thing. That big thing's
So,
accidents.
I mean, it was millions and millions of dollars savings.
100%. It's absolutely massive. And I just, I try to create some parallels and some analogies and whatever.
And as cool as that is, nobody cared.
Exactly. So then I went a little different. And I started sharing, basically stuff I was doing. So on the case on the left, I don't know if any of you are local to Ventura County. I was nominated for 40 under 40 a few years ago in Ventura County. So I shared a little bit about the experience, as to maybe why I was potentially nominated. I'm very active in the community. I was very active during the Woolsey fire. I'm very active in our youth, in our local universities. So it was likely these were the reasons I was given this role, or this award. And I shared about it. You can see 39 likes, 17 comments. Now I'm showing you this post, not because I want you guys to be like, oh, Julian's a cool guy and he's a 40 under 40 winner. It's not an ego thing. These posts that you're seeing all led to business. All led to business. As you can see, there's nothing directly relating here. I'm not talking about marketing. I'm not talking about podcasting. I'm not talking about e-commerce. I'm not talking about percentages. I'm not talking about growth and KPIs. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about my life, right? And these resulted in business. The next one on the right was Hackathon by the Sea Girls Edition. Day one. What we did is it was a little hackathon here in Ventura County, put on by VCCO or something like that, some organization. And basically it was women in tech, and it was high school and middle school young women, young children, to teach them technology and basically have them build an app or build some sort of technology thing. It was really cool, really awesome. And 22 likes, 3 comments, and 900 views. Got me business. Again, not about what I do. Then I went a little more hardcore and I talked about my past. So my real Breaking Bad story. This one got 2,000 views. It's probably been my most looked at one. 51 likes, 31 comments, 2,243 views. This is the story, the real Breaking Bad story, which is I grew up with a mom with a methamphetamine addiction. I grew up in the homes of drug dealers. My babysitter was a drug dealer. So like, you know, I shared a little bit about my past, and again, has led to business, a lot of likes. The other one is this really fun post. I think we all understand this at this point. Everyone likes to give their opinion, right? Especially James, right? No, I'm just kidding, James. But everyone likes to give their opinion, right? And so that's what this post on the right is, A and B. Just pick one. Which one's better, right? And that's people giving their opinion, right? And it, again, resulted in business. This was when I was originally setting up Leaving the Nest. B won, actually, but I ended up picking A just because I felt like I knew long-term A was going to be where I needed to go. But again, led to business. So this is content. Some of you may have some interesting pasts. Some of you may have interesting careers. Some of you have interesting stories. Don't bore us. Make it fun. Make it exciting. Tell us a little bit about yourself and create a post that's interesting, right? Talking about, you know, if you can creatively show a big problem that happened, and how other people would have solved that problem. How would you have solved this big problem that happened at this company maybe years ago? There's a lot that can be done here, guys, but we need to reignite our connections, and we need to heat them up and warm them up. We need to take them from cold connections to warm connections. And that the only way that's going to happen is if you start posting something. It's a journey. It's a process. It's going to take some times. There isn't a single answer to every single one of you on what's going to work right now. You got to figure out what works for you. Once you get a post that does well, please make sure you feature it on your featured section, and that's going to call on your profile. So I'll go back and I'll share you again, Christians. So you can see Christians this is his featured section right there. So this is the end of the presentation. I try to dial as much to give you guys the core things for mid to late careers. And I'm ready to answer questions and maybe workshop a couple headlines with you guys and maybe some about your cover photos. So I'm all ears. I'm ready to go, guys. What do you got?
You added to the featured section, like you just said.
You want to know how to, is that right?
I know how to make a post, but is that different than featuring it?
It is. Let me show you here what to do. Let's not go too deep on how to do stuff because you can Google that, right? I think we're all
Okay,
smart enough to know
then
how to go to Google.
I'm capable of doing that. That's a
Yeah.
good idea. Why don't you
Yeah.
take another question then?
Okay. All right. Go ahead, guys.
I just have a question relative to the searchable situation, and maybe you already covered this when I had to get here late. But it used to be that LinkedIn had specific things that it searched. Now I understand they search everything. Is that not true, Julian?
You know, it's funny enough. I honestly, I'm so blessed. I have had the very lucky opportunity to work with both director of engineering and director of product for LinkedIn profiles. And basically today, as of today, that whole thing's a Boolean search.
Huh.
Say that again. What?
All of that your whole profile is basically searchable at this point.
Julian,
Yeah. Do they do some kind of percentages that, you know, we were told early on by whoever that it was your titles, it was your summary about yourself. Those somehow got
Priority.
a priority in the search. You're
Right.
saying now the whole thing is the same priority?
I didn't say it was the whole priority. We just said that it's all searchable now.
Okay, we knew, well, I assumed it was all searchable.
It wasn't. It was
No,
not.
there were parts
It
that
wasn't.
didn't matter.
Yeah.
Hey, with regards to your location, you brought that up earlier when talking to Aurelio.
Yeah.
And you said that recruiters look locally. So if for those of us who live in the greater Los Angeles area, which would include Orange County, is it relevant that you say I live in Newport Beach, or do you need to say I live in Los Angeles? Is it that finite? What are your suggestions?
Well, okay, so basically really where we're at and what we're noticing with recruiters, headhunters, company policy has changed because of COVID. Company policies basically now allowing remote hires. Certain positions, right, are variable. Maybe they want a CEO locally. Maybe they don't. You just don't know really what it is. But basically, since company policies has changed, it has not made it to recruiters on how they search though. So literally overnight, what we did is we changed, we used this tactic. This kid was here in Los Angeles and we changed him to Seattle. Immediately, Amazon recruiters, he was getting email literally overnight. So I would stay to Los Angeles area. I wouldn't go specifically. Mine says like, I think Westlake, only because I don't care. I'm not looking. But I would for 30 days, Aurelio, if the consumer good industry is good in Chicago, try it for 30 days in Chicago. Try it for 30 days in New York, and really start to do your research on where these companies are growing. Right. We know that real estate's expensive here in California. We know that Elon just moved to Texas. We know a lot of companies are moving out of Los Angeles and California. So figure out where these companies are going, and start putting your location there. When it comes up that you don't live there, I have not heard anyone said, hey, it said on your LinkedIn that you live here, but you live there. I haven't heard that. And if it did, just say, yeah, it was a tactic to get your attention. I wasn't getting any likes. Just be honest.
Well, the reality is most likely they just found you and they don't know why they found you. I mean, the idea that it was search by place isn't what they care. We have an Orange County based career coach, Kimberly Rosh, who has a book, Who Were You When You're Big? And she pushes the idea of having stories of what you did when you were, when all the stars aligned and things worked for you. And I think it's a follow on that every one of those stories that she wants you to create should be content on LinkedIn, because that sounds exactly like what you were doing. It was a story about, when I did something, when I created something or whatever happened.
100%.
100%. The other thing, Julian, that I want to get clarity on, and I've heard this a couple of times, is you don't, and I think mine looks that way, you don't want your LinkedIn profile to look like a resume. It's better to talk about a story, or stories that you've had that in my case would be related to advertising or product development or marketing or sales growth or whatever, but it's much more of a story discussion than, I generated 1.2 billion in sales and the way I did it, what's your thinking on that?
100%. I mean, even a resume needs to tell a story, right?
Right.
So what's funny is I don't know if any of you have heard of the Tory Awards, TORI,
Yeah,
Tory
yeah.
Awards. Yeah. So the Tory Awards, for those of you who don't know what the Tory Awards are, is there's an organization, believe it or not, is to for resumes, and this organization basically wins selects the best resumes of that particular year, and all these resumes that are written, they're stories, right? There's a story in it, embedded in it, and it's the same thing with your LinkedIn profile. I prefer when I talk about my LinkedIn profile, I talk about a lot about just be who you are, right? And being who you are, instead of to your point about the numbers. So yeah, very good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Did you, by the way, did you teach at that Santa Monica digital school? You look really familiar. Were you a guest speaker?
I haven't been a guest speaker at Santa Monica. I've been a guest speaker at a few. So I actually teach at CSUN. I guest speak a lot in Ventura County. I have gone to the OC and done a few LinkedIn workshops out there, like at WeWorks and things like that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So if we're going to move on to the one-on-ones, which is cool, I'm going to stop the recording because this is more just for us. So we're good. So